जय 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 मनमोहना, जय 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 मधुसूदना। केशवा माधवा, माधवा केशवा, केशवा माधवा, माधवा केशवा, गोपाला गोपालना, जय गोपाल, राधा गोपाला गोपालना, जय 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 मनमोहना, जय 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 मधुसूदना। जय 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 मनमोहना, जय 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 मधुसूदना। केशवा माधवा, माधवा केशवा, गोपाला गोपालना, राधा जय गोपाला गोपालना। जय 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 मनमोहना, जय 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 मधुसूदना। जय 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 मधुसूदना। जय 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 मधुसूदना, जय 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 मधुसूदना। वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। Now we reached finish 16 perhaps. Finish 16, right? We'll chant 16 and then go to 17. Shabdaksharam param brahma, tasmin kshine yadaksharam, Tadvidvanaksharam dhyayet Yadi che chantimatmanaha Dve vidye veditavyetu Shabda Brahma Param Chayat Shabda Brahmani Nishnataha Param Brahma Adhigacchati Dve Vidye Veditavyetu Shabda Brahma Param Chayat Shabda Brahmani Nishnataha Param Brahma Adhigacchati Param Brahma Adhigacchati. That person reaches the supreme Brahman. Adhigacchati, this phrase comes in Gita also. Shantim Adhigacchati. The person reaches that state of Shanti. Param Brahma Adhigacchati. He reaches that state of Supreme Brahma. Which person? The one who is Shabda Brahmani Nishnataha, who has gained a certain amount of proficiency in Shabda Brahma. What? So there is Param Brahma and there is Shabda Brahma? Yes, he said there are two Brahmans. Two Brahman, now duality. One is called as Shabda Brahma and one is called as Param Brahma. That is what I said in the second part. The Shabda Brahma, Param Brahma. Param cha Yat. Dve vidyet veditavya means there are two types of knowledges to be known. In our Mundaka Upaniṣad also, it begins like that. There are two types of knowledge. One is called as Paravidya, one is called as Aparavidya. So the idea is a very simple idea. This is, see, have you heard in English there's a simple phrase which people use all the time? You must creep before you walk. Have you heard that? I'm a crawl, yes. You must crawl before you walk. Americans say it differently. In Trinidad we say you must creep before. Same thing. Creep and crawl is same thing. So, you can't just expect to, a little baby you can't expect suddenly the baby gets up and walks. Slowly. This fellow has to crawl and creep and all sorts of things and then one day he'll walk. So in the very same way, to understand or even to appreciate the limitless Supreme Brahma, we have to understand Brahma first in all its manifestations. That is the idea. So that is why spirituality starts with doing puja or worshipping the sun or worshipping the phenomenal forces, the wind. How that supreme reality has manifested as these phenomenal forces. If that appreciation is not developed first, and the mind has not really gained a certain amount of proficiency in understanding the manifestations, then to understand that thing which is unmanifest, or to understand the higher reality will become very difficult. That is there even in our ordinary education system. First, when we go to school, they teach us that, when you go inside any object like this, right? Then you find molecules. When you go beyond the molecules, you find atoms. When you go beyond the atoms, you find electrons, protons, neutrons. That's what they taught us in school. They never taught anything beyond that. First, you appreciate this thing. Then later on, when you go to university and all, then beyond electrons, protons, neutrons, also there are so many other things. But we were never taught that in junior school and all. So if you don't appreciate this first part, what to talk about strings and neutrinos and quarks and beyond, you will not understand anything. So develop a certain amount of balance and settledness in one stage, and then we can move to the other stage. This is the approach. So here it is said Shabda Brahma. First you understand Shabda Brahma, then we will be able to move to Para Brahma. So Shabda Brahma, if taken from the previous verses which we have seen, Shabda Brahma will be just the manifestations of Brahma. Gurudev used to use a most wonderful, Gurudev had employed this sort of technique also when he insisted that before we come to study in Mumbai, we all had to have some undergraduate degree at least. Because if your intellect has not been trained sufficiently, then whatever is being taught in Mumbai, you'll not appreciate it. The intellect has to be brought to a certain level. Therefore, first he says, complete your degree, then come there. If you have not, then you will not appreciate what is going on there. There are exceptions to this also. Yeah? But generally speaking, this is the rule. Because, for example, Sri Ramana Maharshi, I mean, he doesn't have to go to any colleges or ashrams or gurus or this or that. I mean, he just, from the previous birth, he's just coming with a few little things to work out. Means most things are already worked out. Comes with a few things to work out. So many people say, Amaji, what is the need of all of these things? See Ramana Maharshi. He did not need all of these things. Arey, bhai, there's only one Ramana Maharshi in 1,000 years. Why do you feel suddenly you are Ramana Maharshi? We have to go through all of these things, Ramana Maharshi will know that he doesn't need any of this. And there'll be one of them. See, the one before him was Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who dropped the body even in the previous century. Then in the next century, one Ramana Maharshi comes like that. So there'll be one exception to the rule in 100 years or whatever. So this is for us, the general population. We have to develop a great amount of proficiency. Therefore, all the different types of sadhanas and practices and, study, swadhyaya, japa, tapa, all those things are required. We be in satsang. So when we get a certain amount of balance and establishment in Shabda Brahma, we know all about the descriptions of God and reality in scriptures. That helps us to go beyond and to go into the realm of the indescribable, anirvachaniya Brahman. Because Brahman is described as anirvachaniya, isn't it? Indescribable. You can't say what Brahman is. Anything you say about Brahman, Gurudev used to say, any definition, when we define Brahman, we defile Brahman. Beyond definition, beyond words. Na tatra chakshur gacchati, na vak gacchati. The speech really cannot tell what is that reality. So to reach there, I have to really gain a lot of establishment in Shabda Brahman. So we have to go on studying. Shabda Brahmani Nishnataha. Having gained that proficiency and establishment in Shabda Brahman, Parabrahma Adhigacchati. He goes thereafter to Parabrahma. Many people want to skip stages. I don't subscribe to it. I feel we have to go through stages. I don't like people to leapfrog. Some people leapfrog, you jump over this and leapfrogging doesn't work so well in Vedanta. Now, that proficiency in Shabda Brahma is hinted at in the next verse also. What is required in that stage? That is, we'll see here now. Granthamabhyasya medhavi Granthamabhyasya medhavi Jnana vijnana tatparaha Jnana vijnana tatparaha Palalamiva dhanyarthi Palalamiva dhanyarthi Tyajet granthamasheshataha Tyajet granthamasheshataha. the scriptures of India are the most wonderful scriptures you will encounter in the whole universe. It is only the scriptures of India that have the boldness and the daring to say, when you're finished with me, throw me out. And no scriptures of the world have that daring. When you're finished with the path of Vedanta, when you're finished with the Upaniṣad, when you're finished with the Gita, when you're finished with all of these advice and directions and sadhana and all, throw me out. And you have to, and if you don't, you will still be in trouble. We have to at some stage. What daring, what boldness, huh? Otherwise, you see how this world is structured. And look at the world. Everybody is only looking for more numbers. Huh? We want to keep numbers and keep the flock, as we say. And what is the tradition of India? The students come to the Guru and they say, "Oh, Guru, please teach us." The Guru says, "Okay, sit." They sit. He teaches. Then they ask at the end, "Oh, Guruji, can we do anything for you?" The Guru says, "Yes." "Oh, please tell what to do." The Guru says, "Please get out from here." Huh? That's what you can do for me. But he doesn't want any flock, any numbers, any following, any nothing, you see. The quicker you go, better. This is spirituality of India. In the very same way, the scripture also teaches to us, but at some point we also have to throw it out. So he says, "Tyajit grantham asheshataha." Cast out all the scriptures also, because they, you know what they become like? Can you imagine Santa Claus with his big bundle trying to get through the chimney? He's already big guy, you know. So he perhaps can fit in that chimney space. But that bundle behind him is bigger than he is. He cannot take that bundle with him. So he leaves it outside, takes out one toy, and goes through the chimney. So, here also, the scriptures and all the things which we have gathered, all this knowledge and ideas and concepts and precepts and so many things in our spiritual path we take up. All the things that we cling to, our beliefs and ideologies and all such things. It's like a big bundle. So what we are supposed to do at some point, cast them out. Examples are given in the verse also. Palalameva dhanyarthi. Like when a person, I don't know where you grew up, but I remember as a child, we used to have to take rice with the husk. And there was a rice mill, we call it a rice mill, down the road. We take the rice there, and that miller, the man, used to put this rice in that mill. And on one side used to come out rice, and the other side the rice husk, like that. So when I see these examples, I remember my childhood. Very nice examples. Just like a person who wants rice, he has to separate it out from the husk. So we want Brahman. And the scriptures are telling us how to find that Brahman. The scriptures don't tell, you have to keep me. Use me to find Brahman. But when you're finished, cast me out. Otherwise, I'm going to be a hindrance to you. You will not be able to merge in Brahman. So, grantham abhyasya. Whatever is there in the grantha, whatever is there in the scripture is telling, practice that thing. Search for that thing. The scriptures become like pointers. Gurudev used to give a nice example. You know, if I'm using this finger, I say, there's the moon. There's the moon. If you look at my finger, you will never see the moon. You have to see where the finger is pointing. So you follow the finger and look in the direction which is pointing, you will see the moon. And if you just get stuck on the finger, you'll become loony. You're looking at finger only all day. So, follow the finger to the moon. In the same way, follow the scriptures to Brahman. So this is Now how we do? Grantham abhyasya or grantha abhyas. One who practices what is told in the scriptures. Nobody scripture tells, sit down quietly, do this, do that, or sit down and go inside. Right? There's so many wonderful verses of scriptures that we are supposed to internalize, reflect, do deep vichar on them. And that vichar itself will bring us closer and closer to ourselves. So, like Bhagavan tells, Shane Shane Ruparamit Buddhya Dhriti Grihitaya. Slowly, slowly pull the mind with a very firm and strong intellect. So slowly, slowly you pull your mind. Let the intellect be firmly resolved. Let the intellect be determined. And with that intellect, I pull my mind and I put it Atmasamstham manakritva. Place the mind in the self. Nakinchidapi chintayet. And don't think about anything else. Now, I'm supposed to sit down, see the verse in front of me, see it in my mind's eye. Think about every word. Meticulously. Think about every word. It's called a practice of what is given in scripture. It should not just be lip service. Oh, I know it by heart, I can say it. That is not what scriptures are for. So we sit down and see each word, understand each word at the most sublime level, at the most profound level. Understand each word, and then what it says, do it also. So there are several things there. One is, I look at it, understand it, and then I practice it. Grantham abhyasya. Medhavi. Medhavi means a wise person. No, he's called wise. The one who is doing that. If he only looks at it and memorizes it, he is otherwise. Because that is not what the scripture is for. The Medhavi, this wise person, is the one who really figures, oh, this verse, this scripture is meant to bring me to myself. And the scripture is not what matters. It is self which matters. So I'm going to use it to come to my self. And the strong resolution should be there. Vyavasayatmika buddhi, he calls it. Strongly resolved. Jnana vijnana tatparaha. That one who is interested in this knowledge and wisdom, that supreme state, the one who is interested in that, this is what he is supposed to do. Let the scripture become tasmat shastram pramanam te karya karya vyavasthito. Yashastra vidhimusrija, he says, he was cast out the scriptures from his life. That person will never ever reach anyway. Vartate kamakartaha. Nasa siddhima vapnoti. He will never attain siddhi. Siddhi means perfection. So if we have cast out the scriptures from our life, we will never reach perfection. But Swamiji, I have never heard any scriptures. I just heard all these gurus and all these Swamis, and I don't know how to read Sanskrit. People have all sorts of excuses, and I don't know how to read Sanskrit. How I'll read scriptures? Can I not just listen to some guru? So those type of questions. Well, scriptures, all scriptures today are in English. You don't have to read in Sanskrit and all. No problem. And gurus are walking scriptures, isn't it? Live scriptures. In 4th chapter, Bhagavan describes them as Jnaninaha Tattva Darshinaha. They are the ones, Jnaninaha means they know all the scriptures. In the Upaniṣad, they also describe that the person approaches that guru who is Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham. So that first qualification is Shrotriyam. He means he knows all the scriptures. So whatever is coming out from his mouth is scripture only. He is a walking, living scripture. So yes, that is a good replacement. But he will not always be there. Even in the night time, you will sit in front of the guru, poor fellow trying to sleep. So you cannot be there constantly in front of some guru, isn't it? So therefore you need some scripture. It may not be written. You can, by hearing, you can also memorize that. No? And then you have to go on doing reflection. See, the guru will tell you some scripture while you're in front of him. But still your duty is to do mananam. When after shravanam, you have to do mananam. So at least you should have the scripture in your head. And make some verses and some, portions of scripture always your pet portion. This is a very good thing. Make that be your pet portion. I love this portion. I love this verse. I love this passage. Oh man, I can't do without it. And so you're sitting in a plane or in a train or a bus or a car, your mind goes on that thing. And the more you think, scriptures are so wonderful, The more you dig into those things, the more you think about them, the more gems come out. The same verse you wouldn't believe. Same verse you have. We know this the best because we discover this every day. So how many times I have taken this Upaniṣad or whichever Upaniṣad or whichever chapter of Gita, and each time I take it, so many new things come. So that's why we are all the time reveling. We revel, why? Because any time I take it, some other new things come. And people like new things, no? If you go shopping and the same things on the shelf every day. You like when you go shopping, some new products have come from somewhere, isn't it? You like that or not? So, the same thing with this. Just how you find your joy in shopping, seeing new things, we find our joy there. So that is how wonderful scriptures are. They'll go on supplying new gems every day. You'll be amazed. So grantham abhyasya methavi, that wise person who wants that jnana vijnana, knowledge and wisdom, he goes into the scripture and he befriends the scriptures. The first way to befriend the scripture is to learn to chant it. Therefore, when we go into ashram, we don't know anything of Gita, Upanishad, nothing. But we know how to chant it. First, they teach us how to chant all of these things. When you see some stranger on the street there, right? Now you go, this is a university. Catch one of the university staff. And you ask, hey, how much money do you have in the bank? Ask that staff member. What he'll tell you? Why don't you mind your own business? No, but if you befriend that staff member, you become close friends. And after some time, you don't have to ask him, because he will by himself tell you. Isn't it? You don't have to ask. But it comes by befriending. So the first step in befriending scriptures is learning to chant. That is why we go on chanting without knowing meaning. We chant those verses. Later on, when you hear the explanation of those verses or you learn the words and you yourself dig out the meanings, that time the meanings will just pop out and hit you in the face. Like that. They just come out and hit you like that. So that can only happen when you have started a process of befriending. So get close to scriptures and befriend and make certain portions your pet portions. All right. Then when the scriptures have delivered what they are supposed to deliver, that time also we cannot, Bhagavan Shankaracharya says in Vivek Chudamani at one place, Shabda Jalam Maharanyam, the scriptures, they are forest of words. You can even get totally lost in there. So you should always be looking, no. My goal is not to memorize all of these scriptures and somehow fatten my ego so I'll be able to tell everybody, I know Gita by heart, That is not the purpose of scriptures. Or whenever anybody raises any subtle point, I'll be able to refute his point. There are some people who study scriptures for that only. I had gone to somebody's house, and they had, interestingly, I saw several books there, right? So whenever I see books, I open to see what is there. And they had a series of books. What is that? How to Convert a Hindu. Book number 1. How to Convert a Muslim. Book number 2. There was a series of books like that. Published books. So I was very much interested, My antennas go up like that, So I opened it, How to Convert a Hindu. Now, the person who wrote the book, you could see that he has done so much of study of Hindu scriptures. Hindus believe this. Hindus hold this idea. And they went on giving all what Hindus hold. And if the Hindu holds this is what you should tell him. Points. No, he has studied Hindu scriptures to write this book, right? So why he has studied the scripture? So that he could refute everything which is there in Hinduism. No, that is not the purpose of scripture. Therefore, we have a most wonderful phrase in Hinduism. Shankaracharya refers to it in Vivek Chudamani. He says, why we should study scripture? It's a very simple thing. It is called as to develop uha poha vichakshanaha. Uha poha vichakshanaha means I study the scriptures, and in studying it, I should develop the ability to see why that thing is right and not why it is wrong. Means how it is right and not how it is wrong. So when one studies the scripture to see how it is wrong, then he is studying the scripture for the wrong reason. He's supposed to if suppose Bhagavan says that the mind is Maya. Like in Vivek Chudamani, he says mind itself is Maya. Other than mind, there is no Maya. Now I should see how that is right. Not how it is wrong. So I study again. What does the Lord mean by this? Or what does Bhagavan mean by this? Look at it from this side, look at it from that side, look at it from every side to see what he means by that text. What is he trying to convey to me? When I do this, scriptures will really deliver what they were meant to deliver. And if I do the other thing, the person who reads a scripture to refute it, what he's doing in his head, he's creating a mental block in his head, having done which he will never ever discover truth. Because he has studied the thing for the wrong reason, and that thing has delivered to him a concrete wall. So he creates in his own mind a concrete wall, and beyond that wall he'll never be able to see anything. So befriend scriptures and study it well, and what it was meant to deliver, take that and eventually cast out the scriptures also. Cast out the finger and look towards the moon, like that. Okay, now again, as I described before, the all-pervasiveness of the self, sarva-vyapitva of self, even though we see a variety, in and amidst the variety, there is a unity. That is described in the next phrase. Just a reminder in the next verse. Now see. Gavamaneka varnanam Gavamaneka varnanam Kshirasyapyeka varnata Kshirasyapyeka varnata Kshiravat pashyate jnanam Kshiravat pashyate jnanam Linginastu Linginastu gavam yatha. Linginastu gavam yatha. Gavam aneka varnanam. It means there are so many different colors of cows. Have you seen? Not only that, this is a wonderful thing about cows. The cow is the most wonderful creature, I tell you. You take a black cow and feed him green grass and she gives white milk. That is amazing or not? But any color of cow, you feed green grass, you still get white milk. It would have been wonderful if you get blue milk. Hey, recently I heard a story on BBC in near London. The bees were making green honey and blue honey. And have you heard that story? And they were amazed. Bees are making green honey? Then they thought, no, this requires some more investigation, So they followed I don't know how they followed the bees, but they followed the bees. How do you follow a bee? Anyway, they followed the bees. And they realized there was some factory nearby, a candy factory. M&M factory and all, they make green M&M and blue M&M and different colors of M&M. So there was some factory nearby which was making candies, and they were using this food coloring, a dye. And they threw some of the waste behind that building. And the bees went there and they were taking up that dye, that sweet thing. And they came back and made green honey. What we are doing to nature and all these amazing things, Anyway, so now the cows, they eat green grass, but all of them give white milk. So different color of cows will give same color of milk. What a simple example is being used. In the very same way, all scriptures, they are speaking about one thing only. All the scriptures have only one thing in mind. Jnanam, the knowledge of Kshiravat Pashyate Jnanam. Linginaha tu gavam yatha. And the different branches of scriptures also. Different limbs of the scriptures. All of them are, zeroing in on one thing. And that is the absolute self. So, second message which is coming out there is, just as we are describing through the scriptures, there is one unifying thing, which is knowledge. In the very same way, through this world, there is one unifying thing. Bhagavan talks in Bhagavad Gita also. He says there that among the variety, there is always a unity. We should try to always look towards the unity of things rather than the variety. When we find the unity, we are really finding the truth. When we find the variety, we are finding the untruth. If in the variety, you can leave the variety right there and find the unity, that is also very good. So, all scriptures point to one thing. And that all-pervasiveness of self, or sarvavyapitva of self, which we talked about, which is hinted in that verse, is given an even better example in the next verse. Now see. Now, I told you in beginning that this Upanishad is written in a very simple meter. It is called as Anushtup Chanda. Right? It means, Anushtup Chanda means what? There are 32 syllables in every verse. So far. Well, in everything in the universe, there are exceptions. It ought to be like that also. That is a necessity. I want you to pay attention to this. It is a necessity in the universe that everything must have an exception. If it did not, that thing will be perfect. If it did not have an exception, it will be perfect. But then there will be many perfect things in the universe. Now that is not possible. There is only one perfect thing in the universe. That is Brahman. That means that is absolute. Every other thing is relative. So, everything in the universe must have some exception, which is the sign of its imperfection or its relative nature. And that is so by necessity. So that we cannot say that there are so many perfect things. There cannot be more than one perfect thing. So now, just as all the verses have 32 syllables, there is one exception. When that happens in scripture, in Bhagavad Gita also there is an exception. In Bhagavad Gita, there are 2 meters. One is called as Anushtup and the other is called as Trishtup. And the meters are followed perfectly. Means all the verses have exact number of verses except one verse. Poor fellow tucked away in 11th chapter. It has 1 syllable more. In 700 verses, that is a feat, huh? What a feat of accomplishment. In 700 verses, just to have 1 syllable extra. I am not going to tell you which verse. At least I gave you a hint, it's in 11th chapter. You go and see. So now here is the exception. Ghritamiva payasi nigudham. Ghritamiva payasi nigudham. Bhute bhute vasati vijnanam. Bhute bhute vasati vijnanam. Satatam manthayitavyam. Satatam manthayitavyam. Manasa manthana bhutena. Manasa manthana bhutena. Ghritam iva payasi nigudham bhute bhute vasati vijnanam. Vijnanam here stands for the self. Reality. So the reality, bhute bhute vasati. The reality pervades all things. Bhuta means thing. Bhuta in Sanskrit means thing. It means, bhuta comes from be. Bhu to be. Bhuta. So anything which is. This thing is or not? This is or not? I am or not? I am, no? This space is or not? This space is. So anything which is called as bhuta. Now, all things which are, or anything which is, that thing is pervaded by what? It is pervaded by existence, no? And what is existence? Reality is existence. Reality is called as sat. In Sanskrit, sat means existence. So anything in the universe which is pervaded by existence. So you cannot show me something in the universe which is not. That's a contradiction in terms. Show me something which is not. So, Amiji, what are you asking? How can I show you something which is not? If I'm showing you, that means the thing is. My favorite example is in Trinidad, the ashram has a bus. So on evenings, we all get into that bus and we go satsang somewhere. Right? Satsang is over, we have some dinner, everybody gather and they come back in the bus. Now it is time to go back to the ashram. Then what is the last question? Is everybody here? Some hands go up. No, I'm not here. Are look here. If you're raising your hand, that means you're here. In the very same way, if you can show me the thing, that means that the thing it exists. It is not possible to show me something which does not exist. That is a contradiction in terms. That is why I keep telling, there is only one thing in this universe. There is no second thing. There is only existence. And there is no antithesis to existence. Think of that. There is no antithesis to existence. People say, no, Swamiji, non-existence. Non-existence is the antithesis to existence. That is what people claim. So I say, okay, that is the antithesis. Show me it. Well, if you are going to look for non-existence, the only place you will find it is in our head, isn't it? Because I conceived of something in my head and now I'm expressing the thing. I conceived of non-existence and now I am expressing it. So non-existence also has to exist first in my head, then I can verbalize that, isn't it? So now non-existence also exists. How about that? So now we are back to only existence. So there is only one thing in the universe, and that thing is called as existence. There is no second thing. So that existence pervades every single thing. And the example which is given here now, there is ghee, ghrita. Ghrita is ghee. Ghee, this clarified butter. Ghrita in Sanskrit. That ghee is in every part of that milk. But if I look at milk, I don't see any ghee, though it is there. So now what we have to do? Satatam manthaitavyam. Just like when the milkman, he takes that ghee and he churns, that milk and he churns it. And by churning, that churning process, he has developed a method to get the ghee out of the milk. In the very same way, Brahman is there in this whole universe, existence, reality is there in the whole universe. And the scriptures are giving us methods of churning. And when I churn well, I'll be able to discover the Brahman which is pervading the whole universe. That is the example which is given. Very nice example. It comes from it comes from real life examples there. Because this is the process they used to give. And it is what? The nice word is given there, nigudham. Nigudha means that thing is there but you're not seeing it. It's so well hidden. Nigudha means well hidden. Well hidden means something is right in front of your eyes but we cannot see. So what is the meaning? It means God is right in front of our eyes and we are not seeing. Sugriva with Jamvan and Hanumanji and Nala Neel and all, he is on that Rishyamukh Parvat. On the top, he is living there. Bhagwan Shri Ram and Lakshman are coming. Sugriva looks down and he sees Ram, Lakshman, and he thinks to himself, my God, what great personalities these two. He tells Hanumanji, please go down quickly and find out who they are. And if they have been sent by Bali to kill me, don't come here to tell me, from there itself give some sign. Because if you come here, if they have been sent by Bali to kill me and you come here to tell me, by that time I'll be finished. So from there itself you give some sign. I will run away from here. But this is a wonderful example of so many places in Ramayana, other places also. Ravana, here in this case Sugriva, Bali. They are looking at God and do not know that it is God. What a wonderful thing, huh? He says, go and find out who it is. So you'll see the Lord in front of your eyes in real also, and do not. That is true for all of us. Everything which we see in this universe, because it is pure existence, what are we seeing? Brahman only. But Maya is ati vichitra. He said, Maya is so wonderful. We are seeing God, but we are still trying to find out what it is. So, it is all nigudha. That is the name nigudha. It's so well hidden. so well lodged there that no matter how much you look, we don't see. Bhute bhute vasati. In that reality, dwelling in all things. So satatam manthayitavyam. Again and again, I have to go on churning. I have to go on, churning here means vichar, reflection, contemplation, that kind of thing. Huh? Think. This is the problem about human beings. We don't like to think. Well, I should change that a little bit, We don't like to think about the right things. We think, but what do we think about? Oh, Bapre. See, if I see Upaniṣad, see human mind. Amṛtabindu Upaniṣad. I was coming with this book. I had it on the plane. So it was there sitting on the tray table, So the person next to me glanced at it. It's all Sanskrit words, which they don't know what it is. Amṛtabindu Upaniṣad. So he took a glance like this and then turned away. But a human being is like this. When he sees it, oh, bahut sundar hai. Very beautiful. Somebody did a nice cover and everything, So we see like that. And for the picture also. And I wonder how much it will sell for in the market. Our mind goes like that side, We do. So we do think. But what do we think? That is our problem. We go on thinking in the wrong direction all the time. So see where we are. Manthayitavyam, we are supposed to be reflecting on the reality. See where we are. First of all, half of the people do not think. Therefore we say, think before you act. But what do? We act and then think. And the disease is so bad, most people act and never think. You know what he said? You can live without food for a few weeks. You can live without water for a few days. You can live without air for a few seconds, or a few minutes. And without thinking, lifetimes we can live. So we act and don't think also. We just go on acting. So many people are guilty of that thing. Then some people we say, okay, they think. Then they also now think about the wrong things. And then there are few who will now think about, do that vichar. Go on thinking about this reality, which is right in front of our eyes. So you always find a small group like that. So manthayitavyam, go on thinking. It is the privilege which is afforded only to a human being, That is our sole privilege. We can go on reflecting and we neglect that most wonderful gift which we have. So go on thinking and thinking about the right thing. By this thinking, constant reflection will open and more develop the eye of knowledge, by which we will be able to, from the same things which we are seeing in front of us, we'll be able to bring out the reality. Because the reality, you don't look for it in mountains and caves and Kabirdaji, right? I am not in Mathura, means, as Bhagavan is saying, I am not in Mathura, Vrindavan, Kashi. I am in all things right in front of your eyes. Why are you going looking here and looking there? See now. So that eye of wisdom has to be developed. That is given in next verse. And it comes only by deep reflection. Jnana netram samadaya. Jnana netram samadaya. Uddharet vahnivat param. Uddharet vahnivat param. Nishkalam nishchalam shantam. Nishkalam nishchalam shantam. Tad brahma hamiti smritam. Tad brahma hamiti smritam. kindling the eye of wisdom, or evoking the eye of wisdom, or opening the eye of wisdom, or awakening the eye of wisdom. Jnana netram samadaya. With the use of the eye of wisdom, uddharet vahnivat param. That param, uddharet, means draw out from what you are seeing right in front of you, draw out the supreme. So we have to develop the eye of wisdom, and with that eye of wisdom, from what I am seeing right now in front of me, I draw out, in other words, come to see the reality right in front of your eyes. How? Vahnivat example is given there. Vahnivat means, in the old days, they used to start a fire like that. What do you do? They take one piece of stick like this, a short pole, and this katori type thing, piece of wood like this, and you take this piece of pole now and you put it in that wooden piece, and now you put a piece of rope on this wood, and you keep doing like that, and this pole keeps spinning, but because it is rubbing on the katori part on the bottom, friction is created, and the faster you go, more friction. And there in the katori, you put some little dry leaves. So with the friction, the dry leaves catch fire. Now look here. Fire is there in the leaves. Fire is there in the wood also. Fire is already there. Because you can't bring fire from somewhere else. It has to be there. But the movement like this causes the fire to come out. To manifest itself. So in the very same way, the Brahman is already there in all things. And if I do not do that churning like that, I will not be able to bring it out. So the churning causes the sparks to come out. I start that fire, sometimes it's called a fire of knowledge also. Jnana Agni. With that Jnana Agni, I'll be able to. Oh. And that's why, Gurudev used to say, when this eye of knowledge is awakened, or developed, or when it blossoms, we don't see anything new, we see everything anew. Because you're seeing the same thing in front of your eyes, but you're seeing it with a different light now. It's quite tantamount to some movie I had seen, remember. I don't know if you remember this movie. They call as Raja or Rank. Nice name also they give to these movies and all. So in that movie, in the palace, the queen had twins. She gave birth to twins. But that midwife sneaked out one of the babies without the queen knowing. As the queen was unaware at the time of birth. So the midwife sneaked out one of the babies and took that baby to some village. And that boy was brought up there. And now one was brought up in the palace. No, all Hindi films go like that only. Later on they will meet and all. You know that. So they met there. Now, somebody had to tell, hey, you are not, that rank means that's a beggar, somewhere in village. Poor fella doesn't even have food to eat. And here the other one in the palace is living lavishly. So somebody had to tell at some point in that movie, you are his twin. Now look here. Do they have to make him into a twin? No. Do they have, you see, this one is called a Raja, means here king or prince, let us say. So they don't have to make that second one into a prince. Nobody has to make him into a prince. He's already a prince. And no matter where you take him, he will always be a prince. So now when they tell, you are prince, that time you are really not creating any new being, You are just seeing the same person anew. You're not seeing a new being. You're seeing him anew. Means now instead of seeing him as a beggar, you're seeing him as a prince. Now how that happens, by knowledge only. That happens by knowledge. See, first you had wrong knowledge. You were thinking he's a beggar. But now when the right knowledge is given, that right knowledge makes you get a new vision. Same thing you are seeing, but your vision becomes new. So here also, when this eye of knowledge, or eye of wisdom is opened, then we are seeing the same thing in the universe, but now we are seeing it with a new eye. They call it jnana netram, and it is awakened and developed and it blossoms by what we are doing in this class here now, but what we are doing in this camp. So how much more of this we have to keep on doing? It blossoms like that. So when this camp is over, because I only have one verse left, when it is over, it doesn't mean that all your efforts and your journey is over. Actually, it just started. So after this, the duty will be on you. The onus will be on you to make sure that you go on reflecting, go on churning, go on thinking about this thing. Don't leave it alone. This, let me tell you something. See, we say yena kena prakarena. By any which way, we should make sure that we keep our mind on scriptures. So even if you don't want enlightenment or moksha, mukti, any such thing, you should still study scriptures. You will ensure that you don't get Alzheimer's. Suppose you don't want moksha and mukti and all that kind of thing. You want to prevent yourself from getting senility and Alzheimer's and all such things, na? So at least study for that reason, at least. So that's what we say. By any which way, keep your mind in scriptures. So study, reflect, ponder, contemplate, go on churning. What do we say? The cows ruminate. So take some verse and go and ruminate. Again and again. Then the person comes to that state of discovering that Nishkala Brahma. Nishkala Brahma. Nishkala means without parts. The Brahman is partless. Though it seems to be compartmentalized. Like there's a little bit of Brahman there, there's a little bit of Brahman. It's not like that. That is only appearance. It is Nishkalam. Nishchalam also. Brahman doesn't go from one place to another place. A thing that is all pervasive, from where will it go? Where? Can't go anywhere. So you don't have to go to find God anywhere. What you have to do, you see, it's a wonderful thing. If we are going to find God, we'll never find. When we stop trying to find, stop going to find, then only we will find. And you go looking for God places you'll never find. Because you get taken up with the looking. You get taken up with the going. And human beings are wonderful. See, I had taken a group we're going to see that Jwalamukhi. In Himachal Pradesh, there are so many nine incarnations of the Devi. So Jwalamukhi Devi is on mountain top. I had 50 people following me, and we are going up the mountainside now. So these vendors also, they know where to put their shops. Chai dukan there, sari dukan there, murti dukan there, They have all these shops. So 50 people following me, 2 dropped out in chai dukans. 2 in 5, 10 sari dukan. When I reached Jwalamukhi, I was alone. So when you're looking for Brahman like that, easily you find something else on the side, you're gone. So just stop the looking and just be. Stop the looking and just be. Otherwise we are constantly on this journey, and there are so many distractions on the journey also. Going. Go on that side, go on that side. So Brahman is Nishchalam, has not gone anywhere and cannot go anywhere. Something which is all pervasive cannot go anywhere. Or the other way to look at that, in the Upanishad, elsewhere it is described as Sarvagatam. It has already gone everywhere. Now where else to go? Brahman is already gone everywhere. No other place to go. So it's called a Sarvagatam. Here Nishchalam. Doesn't go anywhere. So you just have to sit and be. Because I am already in Brahman. Not in Brahman. I am Brahman. Aham asmi iti. That is given in the last pada. I don't have to go looking for anything. That all pervasiveness again is referred to. And I am that which pervades the whole universe. That is given. Sarvabhuta-dhivasam yad. Sarvabhuta-dhivasam yad. Bhuteshu cha vasatyapi. Bhuteshu cha vasatyapi. Sarvanugrahakatvena. Sarvanugrahakatvena. Tadasmyam Vasudevaha. Tadasmyaham Vasudevaha. Tadasmyaham Vasudevaha. Iti means thus. It is. Tad asmi aham Vasudevaha. I am that Vasudeva. Vasudeva, the literal meaning of Vasudeva means he who pervades all things. That is the meaning of Vasudeva. Who is Bhuteshu cha vasati api. Who dwells in all beings. Who dwells in all things. He is called as Vasudeva. A second meaning, he in whom all things dwell. That is second meaning. So I am that Vasudeva who dwells in all things, or I am that Vasudeva in whom all things dwell. Either way, you're saying the same thing only. See, if the penguin is made out of ice, right? So the penguin dwells in the ice, or the ice dwells in the penguin? Well, whichever you want to say. Both are? Where has all the ice gone? Into the penguin. Where is the penguin? In the ice. Whichever side you look from, you are saying one and the same thing. So that is called as Vasudeva. Bhuteshu or Bhuteshu cha vasati api. Sarva bhutadivasam yat. I am that soul of the universe. I am the self of the whole universe. It is I who am dwelling in all things. So how close that makes all of us? We are not merely related. Those are weak words. We are not related. We are one. If I say I am related to you, that is an insult actually. We are not related. We are one. In fact, in the moment I say we, I am making two. Isn't it? The language is so poor. I cannot say we also. But I can say, wow. I am. I'm the soul of all things. When I say I am and I'm the soul of all things, I include you. Like that. Sarva anugraha ekat. Anugrahatvena. Grahakatvena. It means to say by the Lord or the reality pervades all things and sustains all things and is all things by His own grace. By His grandeur and His greatness and His grace and His magnanimity and His compassion and whatever. Anugraha word means all of these things. What greatness of the reality to sustain a manifestation like this. What greatness of the reality to express itself as this vast, limitless variety. The reality sustains the world by being the world. Not that the reality is somewhere else and is sending some pittance to sustain the world. Not like that. The reality sustains the world by His own grace of being the world. Being all of us. How wonderful is this reality? The reality is at the same time sentient and insentient things. Not that the reality is only sentient things. Both sentient and insentient. In fact, sentient and insentient is only what we superimpose. Every atom is just as sentient as every other atom in the universe. So that quality of the reality, or that aspect of the reality of sustaining such a variegated and wonderful universe, that we call as anugraha, is the grace of the reality. How wonderful Bhagavan's grace. Power has come back. Grace of the Lord. Yes. So what is actually going on is, this is Bhagwan's way of knowing Himself. This is the Lord's way of knowing Himself through this whole process. The more and more I come to appreciate what I am, the more and more God is knowing Himself. God knows Himself through us. And the more I can remove my individual ego from the way, the better Bhagavan will know Himself. The individual ego prevents that. Tad asmi aham. I am reality. Good time for the power to. Battery lasted perfectly. The tradition is that we chant the first verse, symbolic of a second round of study. Mano hi dvividam proktam shuddham cha shuddhameva cha ashuddham kama sankalpam shuddham kama vivarjitam us to an end of this most wonderful text. Our Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda was a great magician, you know. He had a very special talent. What is that talent? He used to take up crazy people from the side of the street and make them into swamis. Sound. I hope I don't look like a pop star. So he has caught us from some different places in the world, and he has brought all of us to the ashram and gave us his knowledge. And then he told, now you go on and give it out. And he himself, you know, one day I asked, Swamiji, what qualification we have to go and teach anybody, you know? Whereas we come here for 2-3 years, whatever, and I don't think I know anything to go and teach anybody anything. He said, you don't go and teach anything. You go there and just open your mouth, I will tell. You just open your mouth, I will talk. Chinmaya will talk through you. So we go and we try to open as big as possible. Say, ah. So if you have gotten any piece of knowledge in these last few days and any inspiration, it is coming from our Gurudev. So I hope that you have gotten something and that you can go on your path of reflection, contemplation, open the eye of knowledge and see the self which is right there. All right. I thank you also for giving me the opportunity to serve my Gurudev in this way. Thank you for having me, and I hope we'll see again soon in another exchange like this. Presently in Trinidad, we are preparing for the Vedanta course. I will be there from now when I return. For 19 months, I will be staying put, teaching the Brahmachari course there. If you feel like coming, please do come. I'll be there. First time I'm going to stay put for 19 months. More or less. Because I have to leave once or twice in between also. But you're most welcome. Trinidad Ashram is just about 3 hours flight from Miami. So it's not very far, not too remote. And there's accommodation in the ashram itself. And scriptures will be going on like this every single day. So please come anytime. Open invitation. Hari Om. Thank you.